Okay, so apparently TikTokers have no idea what an iPod Shuffle is because your little ass wasn't even born. You were still soup, if you get the reference. But to any of you that think you could go around saying, what is this ancient technology? To you, whoever you are, come here. Come a little closer. Come here. Come here. Come here. Eat me! Alrighty, looks like Apple really is doing the pill shape, and a lot of fans are kinda about it because of a recent display leak, and I'm honestly gonna tell you the truth, I don't think it's that bad. And I'm gonna call out the Apple sheep in this episode, and if you don't like what I gotta say, then go kick rocks for all I care. Anyway, also on today's episode, it looks like the iPad Air 5 rumors are starting up. We might be getting a new refreshed iPad Air, and lastly, it looks like Apple is actually testing a foldable, and I'm here to tell you guys that we are still a couple of years away from that. So don't get your hopes up, but it's good to know they are working on it. So, enough said, that's what's going on today's episode of Technoid. Let's not waste any time, let's get to the show. Alrighty, story number one, the first one up, the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. Now, as you know, I have recently admitted that I am, of course, done saying that I don't believe we're gonna see a pill-shaped iPhone. I'm done with that. I do believe Apple is working on it, and it looks like we have some proof of that. Now, again, I don't know if this is a 100% confirmed design. This is just a rumored picture to be what is supposedly a internal display look of what the new iPhone is going to look like. So bear this in mind. But according to many analysts and several others, we do know that Apple is going to go with a punch hole design for the new iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. One of the things we don't know exactly is how big that hole is going to be. Now, we've heard a lot of reports saying that Apple has figured out a way to hide all of the other cameras and proximity sensors under the display and managed to shrink it down to the size of a punch hole. However, some people are suggesting that the cutout will be a pill shape. And according to a recent render image and also an actual quote-unquote leaked display panel, we can see that the new iPhone is possibly going to have a pill-shaped design. Taking a look at it, not only do we see two different cutouts, but it is said that the one on the left side, where it's just a single punch hole, is actually the under display camera that is going to be hidden with the software, and that the camera in the center of the pill shape is going to be the actual pill shape that we see. Then, of course, there's a mock-up of the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max to give you a visual idea of what it looks like. Now listen, I was looking at this story and I thought to myself, you know what? This could actually work. This actually doesn't look that bad. Now we figure out how Apple can distinguish their punch hole, if that's the way they're gonna go, because I told this to John Prosser and I'm saying it again, that if Apple's gonna put a punch hole, they gotta figure out a way to get that, distinguish it from an Android. And making it a slightly big pill shape, but not too big, is pretty good. I don't think that's a bad design. But surprisingly, a lot of Apple fans do not like it, and it threw me by shock. I'm reading comments, I'm reading tweets, I'm reading everything, and literal Apple fans are picking the notch over the pill shape. Okay, dear Apple fans, I have a question. What are you smoking? And whatever you're smoking, can I have some of that?
Bruh.
Because you've got to be the most blindest Apple sheep fan you could possibly be to tell me that the pill shape is worse than the notch. People, I understand if you want to still believe that the notch is innovative, but that is a almost 5-year-old design. Apple wants to remove the notch, and the proof of it was their 13 Pro and Pro Max. Now again, I was one of you that said, oh, but if they're removing the notch, why are they putting it on the MacBooks? That's the way the sequence works. When one product gets something new, everybody follows. And kinda to be fair, the iPad minis did have a punch hole, kind of, but I don't want to get too into that. But I am genuinely shocked to see that Apple fans would rather have a forehead over a pill shape. And the render of what it could be looks 10 times better than any notch on any iPhone. Now again, I'm gonna hear in the comments, oh, you don't notice the notch. You'll never even notice it. There's so much screen. I don't give a rat's ass if you don't see the notch. But if every day I pull out my phone and the first thing I see is a black bar at the top, that's me noticing the notch every single day. And to prove you once and for all how I notice the notch, take a look at the Apple iPad Pro. No notch, people. And as a matter of fact, my newest flex is actually keeping my 15-inch MacBook Pro with a touch bar with no notch. So bottom line, you'll notice the notch, you don't notice it, I still do, and I think the pill shape is better. So let me hear your thoughts down below. Do you think Apple's going to, I don't know, are they going to do it? I think they will, and that's actually a good design. If that is the correct size of the pill shape, that's a good way to distinguish it. But to those of you defending the notch, I don't know, man. What's next? They're gonna come out with a software notch for your Apple TV? Give me a break. Alrighty, story number 2. Calming myself down for a couple of minutes. Let's talk about the iPad Air 5. Now, as you know, the iPad Air line has been a very decently popular model amongst Apple fans. It was one of the first iPads to implement the Touch ID on the home button, and it introduced a cheaper iPad Pro-like design with a few cuts and corners, but still giving you a premium experience for a Air. And it looks like Apple's going to continue on the success because according to several reports, it seems that Apple wants to use what they've learned with the iPad mini release, their newest iPad mini, and will be borrowing inspiration. So one of the big things is that they will be using, quote, either the A14 or A15 chip. Rumors reported saying they are not going to give the M1 chip to the iPad Air. It will still continue using A-series chips to save on cost, but it will feature 5G, as 5G was a big selling point for the cellular models of the iPad mini. On top of this, there will be upgraded cameras, and also the iPad Air, whatever number it's gonna be, is rumored to have a 12 megapixel upgraded sensor. It will have increased LTE to 5G. Of course, it will have either an A14 or A15, or if it's released after the iPhone 14, an A16. Jesus, we are so close to A20. Wow, I remember when we were on the A11 Bionic. Anyway, it will also get center stage with support for tracking objects by zooming in and out of the Zoom calls, and lastly, the quad lens True Tone Flesh. So that's everything we know about the iPad Air 5. So I'm not gonna go any more into that. That's all you need to know. And the price is rumored to go up by $50. No big surprise there. And last story, the final story, let's talk about the Apple Foldable. Now, as you know, many YouTubers, including myself, have said that Apple will not pull the trigger on foldables right away. They are still looking at the market. They are still looking at it to improve the experience. And it doesn't look like they're gonna really have a demand for a foldable anytime soon. However, though, it looks like that might change, because according to several reports, it seems that Apple is definitely, quote, working and testing on multiple prototypes that contain foldable displays. According to the report, they say that whether the foldable smartphones will continue to have a place in the market or will fall into obsolescence, Apple is internally and carefully absorbing data and observing as well, taking a look at what the marketplace shows for foldable smartphones, and also looking upon the mistakes of their competitors. Now, this is a very easy terminology that Apple has followed for the last several years. They like to innovate behind closed doors, let their competitors make some mistake, and then when they polish it up behind the scenes, then they'll release it. But of course, we know this philosophy is slightly flawed, as they will always be years behind in software in terms. But the one thing that Apple definitely could have the upper hand in foldables is their software experience with iOS. Now, if you know anything about iPadOS has gotten a great OS update. Now, combining that with a foldable or just using iOS Enhanced, that would be a great Fold OS, whatever you're gonna call it. That would honestly be a cool experience. Now, Again, we don't know exactly what prototypes they're working on. Are they going with a clamshell? Are they doing a tablet fold? We have no idea because we don't even know when Apple's going to do this. But the rumors are saying that if Apple continues to test, they will be likely around 2023 or 2024. So we'll have to wait and see how the foldable market plays out. But you got to really give a big hand to Samsung, because if it were not for Samsung pushing as hard as they are, we would not have other people trying to build on the foldable market. The only problem is just finding a price point to get people in. So yeah, keep working on that, and we'll see what happens. And that's for today's episode of Tech Doy. Now guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button. If you disliked the video, hit the dislike button. That helps circulate my videos as well. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all on the next episode. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care, stay safe, and remember, hugs, not drugs. Peace!